All right, so let's talk about the second way to solve systems of equations, and this is by substitution, and sometimes it's my favorite way. It just kind of depends on the situation. This is more efficient, in my opinion, than graphing, because you don't always want to draw a graph or pull up a graph and do it, but it is the same process. Like, you're going to get the same kind of answer. So you're still going to have an answer that is an ordered pair. So you have to write it in parentheses, like -2, 4, or something like that. Okay, so this is solving by substitution. So let's just get into the first problem. Substitution. So first you need to figure out which variable is either by itself or very easy to get by itself. And in this case, it looks like this y equals -2x minus 2. So we're going to take all of that and substitute it in for that second equation. So that would give me, 3x plus, and then you have all of that stuff right there, the -2x minus 2, and it's going to equal -1. Okay? Let's go ahead and we have one equation with only x's and numbers in it. So there's not x's and y's. So you can solve for x on this. So you're going to combine like terms. 3x plus -2x gives me x. Just going to bring down that -2 equals -1. Going to add 2 to both sides. So x equals 1. Perfect, not too bad. But remember, these answers are going to be a coordinate, so we have to figure out what y is. So whenever you're figuring out what y is, you literally substitute 1, because you know that's x. You've already solved for x, back into one of the equations. Does not matter which one, pick the easiest one. In this case, I think the top one is the easiest one, because once I plug that in, it'll just y equals whatever that side is. So let's do that. So this would be y, I keep doing that. Y equals -2 times 1 minus 2. -2 times 1 is -2. That minus 2 would be y equals -4. So this answer to this system would be 1, -4. Okay? Not too bad, right? Okay, let's do this next one. This time they give you the x's by itself. So we're going to plug all of this stuff in to this. And this is kind of level 1 when they give it to you with one of the variables already by itself. So we're going to have, this is a little bit different because it's 2 times x. So we have to do 2 times all of that. So 3 minus y. Oops, I'm already getting off. I'm trying to color code as I go. And then bring down the positive 7y equals 16. All right, now we're ready to distribute because we have an equation with just y's in it. So we have that 2 times 3 would be 6. 2 times -y is -2y plus 7y equals 16. Okay, gonna combine like terms. So I have -2y plus 7y would be positive 5y. Gonna bring down everything else. Subtract 6. Those cancel. I have 5y equals 10. Divide by 5. So y equals 2. Sweet. Okay, so now let's plug. We know y is 2. I'm going to plug it back into one of those equations. I'm going to pick the top one because, again, it's the easier one. So you have x equals 3 minus 2, right? That's the part that it's because it's 3 minus y. All right, so therefore, that's a pretty easy one. X is 1. So you write this. Don't forget to write it as an ordered pair because it'll take a half a point off on your quiz and your test. So your x coordinate is 1, your y coordinate is 2. Okay, let's do letter C. So this one's a little bit different. We're going to have to do some magic, and I'm sorry it's so blurry. So first we have to figure out, we have to get one of the, actually this is really bothering. I'm gonna wait. Sorry, we have to get one of the variables by itself. And it looks like to me, this top equation, this x is just a positive x. If we just subtract this 3y over, we're gonna get the x by itself. So I'm gonna squeak that in there, minus 3y minus 3y. So therefore that top equation becomes x equals negative 3y and a plus 5. Okay, sweet. So now we have we just had to do one little step. It's no big deal. So now we are ready to do substitution since we have one of the variables by itself. So I'm going to take all of this stuff and plug it in for that y right, or that x right there, excuse me. So we need parentheses, negative 2 times all of that stuff. So negative 3y plus 5 minus 4y equals negative 5. Okay, let's go ahead and distribute. So negative 2 times negative 3y would be positive 6y. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Then bring down all this other stuff. Combine your like terms. So that's positive 2y minus 10 equals negative 5. Add 10. 2y equals, is this right? 5. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Y equals 5 divided by 2. You could either leave it just like that or 2.5. Okay, that's all right. We're going to get a fraction. It's okay on this problem, I promise. So we're going to plug all of that in. So I'm going to use the decimal. It's probably the only time you're going to see me do that. And I'm going to plug it in right there for that y. Okay, so I'm going to have x equals negative 3 times 2.5 plus 5. So stick that in the calculator and you get negative 2.5. Okay, so now let's write it as an ordered pair. So negative 2.5 is your x, that means it comes first, and then 2.5 is your y. So what is good about this method is that you can have a decimal or a fraction as an answer, which happens sometimes. But in that first way I taught you, and when you solve by graphing, it doesn't work quite as well because you can't have a decimal answer on a graph. It's really hard to see. So that's one pro about this one right here. Okay, so the next problem, which variable looks like it's going to be the easiest to get by itself? Well, I think the y does on the second equation. You might be tempted to say the x, but there is a negative sign in front of that x, so you would have to divide by -1 or do some other stuff. So I think on this case, actually, just moving that x over and getting the y by itself is the easier option. So that those would cancel and you would have y equals x plus 6. Okay, so we're going to take all of this and plug it in for that y. So that would be, how many times can I do that in this video? 2x minus 2 parentheses x plus 6 equals 4. Let's go ahead and distribute that negative 2. Don't forget it's a negative. And then negative 2 times positive 6 would be negative 12 equals 4. Okay, combine your like terms. 2x minus 2x. Well, that's just 0x. So you're left with negative 2 equals 4, right? That's weird. So when you get to this point, if both variables cancel and you have no variables left, and the statement is, and I would definitely write this down, is true, that means let's say false because this one's false. Statement is false, like this one, negative 12 does not equal 4. That means there are no solutions. Okay, if the statement is true, okay, so that one's true, false. If it's true, that means there are infinite solutions, aka it's the same line. Kind of cool, right? So just note, but that has to be only if both variables cancel away. If they don't, then don't even worry about it. But this is something like if you have a note card in the future, I would definitely have on your note card. Okay, so on this one, I actually have an error. I'm sorry. Make this to be 2x minus 16y equals -2. Okay, so let's see what happens. Actually, I'm sorry, I messed up. Do -4. My bad. Okay, so looks like the top line, it would be easiest to get that x by itself. So let's add 8y to both sides. So those cancel. And then you have x equals, what would that be? 8y minus 2. Okay, let's take all of this stuff, because x, we got the variable by itself, and plug it in for that x. So I have 2 times 8y minus 2, right? Minus 16y equals -4. Go ahead and distribute. That would be 16y minus 4 minus 16y equals -4. Combine your like terms. What happens? 16y and minus 16y, those cancel, right? So you have -4 equals -4. Okay? So all the variables went away. That means you're going to have a special solution. Is this statement true? Does -4 equal -4? Yes, this is true. So that means there are infinite solutions. Okay, so what happened is this is actually, those are the same two lines. So if you were to graph them, it would be the same exact line. So that means how many places do they intersect? Well, they intersect at an infinite point, like every single point on the line. Okay, so that's what that means. All right, let's do this last one. Let's get this y on the bottom. Looks like that's going to be the easiest one. So subtract 2x. And you have y equals -2x plus 10. Okay, let's take all this, plug it in for that y. So I have 3x plus 4 times -2x plus 10 equals 12. Distribute 3x minus 8x plus, that'd be 40, I can't do math, 40 equals 12. Combine like terms, -5x plus 40 equals 12, minus 40 minus 40, so -5x equals, what would that be, -28. Okay, so divide both sides by -5. So that becomes x equals, this is going to be positive 5.6. And if you're not sure, of course, it's a weird decimal. I would have put it as a fraction or put it in your calculator. If you would like, you could convert it back to a fraction, but in this case, I would just leave it as a decimal. It doesn't matter. I would count either one correctly. Okay, so now this is kind of gross, but it's okay. This is accurate. So I need to figure out what y is. So I'm going to take this and plug it back into one of them. I think the second one actually would be easier, so we could either plug it in there or actually let's just plug it in here from when we converted it. So this would be y equals -2 times 5.6 plus 10. So stick that in your calculator and you get -1.2. I know, this is a gross problem, but this is okay. Like, this might happen in real life. You can have decimals or fractions as your answer. It's okay. That's one thing about this system that, or this way of solving, will let you do. Okay, so just know, don't freak out. Check your answers on the homework if you start getting a decimal, but it is illegal. Okay, so thanks for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Have a good one.